Hey everyone, Michelle here and welcome back to my channel and welcome to my May wrap up. This is a new setup kind of thing I'm planning to use in future. Gonna see how it goes, not sure at the moment. But anyway, back to the wrap up. May was a good month, so I had my 10 planned books to read. I read them, and then I had my 2 extra books that I wanted to read. The Shadow in the Glass and A Declaration of the Rights of Magicians. I read them. So I read 12 books last month. So because a lot of what I read last month was sequels, I can't really give you too much information about them. So I'm going to be really vague about them ones when I'm talking about what I liked, what I didn't like. But the others, I should be able to say enough without spoiling it. I've already been rambling for far too long, so let's get into the wrap up. So the first 2 sequels on my list are from the Dark Shade of Magic series. A Gathering of Shadows and A Conjuring of Light by V.E. Schwab. I give both these books 4 stars. I enjoyed them. They were good world building. They were an interesting type of magic that you kind of don't see. The bad guy, nah, kind of knew what it was going to be, so didn't really spoil too much. Yeah, this is the thing, I can't really say too much. I mean, the bad guy, it was obvious that was going to be the bad guy, and so, yeah. There was nothing I inherently didn't like that would make me say, don't read this series. For me, it was just the love interest. There was no point of them being there, if I'm honest. One of them I felt forced. I was like, I'd rather they be friends rather than lovers. But that's not my decision, that was V. Schwab's decision. I did see quite a few of the twists coming, especially in the second book, because the ending of the second book is what made it go from a 3-star to a 4-star for myself. Yeah, I think it was one of those series where it's hyped so much everywhere that I was like, oh, I'm probably going to like it. But I've realised over the past year or two that when it comes to hyped books and hyped series, it's very hit and miss for me. I do still want to read more of V. Schwab's work. I'm just not in a rush to go read it. And I know she's eventually wanting to write more from this world. I won't be carrying on with it, I don't think. Just a good series, just not one that I'd go back to in a hurry. The next 2 sequels on this list are Dead Man's Blues and The Mobster's Lament by Ray Celestin. In this series, you are in America and you follow mobsters in America, and each book is set in a new city at a new time, and you are following new mobsters, and you get to see how America has developed with the mob in it, and how it goes from very much being kind of accepted and it's the norm to kind of not seeing the downfall, but kind of see how the downfall started. And you follow the same 2 characters, Michael Talbot and Ida Davis, throughout America as they can travel from their work as investigators. I enjoy this series so much. I enjoy history. I would love to read more about mobsters as well, so it was perfect blend for me. I enjoy it so much. I find the character building so good, especially when it's characters that you know and you're like, where are you taking this? What's happening? Especially the mobsters. Obviously everyone knows mobsters, so you've got Al Capone in here. You have Gabrielle Levison, who was in Mobster Fixer, I believe. I read this like last month, so I can't really remember all the names. Yeah, so Gabriel Levison was a mob fixer who's a character in this book, and his boss was Frank Costello, who was a very big boss in New York in the 1940s. So I like the fact that it's a mixture of real life characters and situations that happen, but also a bit of fiction to make it a bit more fun and to make it fit in with the storyline. There is one more book to come from this series, however it's not on Goodreads yet, so I'm guessing it's not even been written yet. I can't wait for it to come out. I honestly can't. I I think I will miss being in this world, but Ray is definitely an author I will keep my eye out on in future. And from one series that I really enjoy to another, the Sam Wyndham series by Abe Mukherjee. So I read books 3 and 4, which is Smoke and Ashes and Death in the East. These books are set in India in the 1920s, so you kind of see how the British are seen out there, how they work with the constabulary out there, I think that's the word, and how the mood in the country changes from them accepting that the British are in charge to, by the end of Death in the East, where a lot of opinions in the country is that India should go independent. So I am quite enjoying that. Both these books got 5 stars. I really enjoy the world building, especially descriptions of India. As someone who will most likely never go to India due to her crippling plane anxiety and freakouts, I probably would never go there. So reading somewhere who describes India in such detail, like I can imagine it in front of me, is really good. And it generally does describe what India's like. I have one of my sister's friends who has been to India a few times. He loves the country, and he's like, yeah, it's really good describing India. So I'm like, yes, I'm right in this. The character building as well, especially between Surinder Banerjee and Captain Sam Wyndham, that relationship going from Banerjee just accepting that Sam is his boss to, by the end of Death in the East, where Banerjee is kind of taking more control and being Sam's boss at times. I really enjoy that, especially at the end when he's like, oh, I'm doing this for you. There may be a time where I need you to cover for me. And it's like, yes, give me the relationship developments. I want this to be a friendship right to the end. I don't want it to be that when India does get independence and all of a sudden Banerjee and Sam are not friends. I will not be happy. I can kind of get the hints that Sam's kind of agreeing with India on independence, which I'm liking. So yeah, the next book is out in November. It's in hardback. The rest of the series in paperback. So I'll buy it in hardback and then paperback. And another book that I cannot wait to get my hands on and read, and I know for definite that it will be in my TBR for December, unless I can squeeze it in November. And on to another sequel, The Spider Dance by Nick Setchfield. This is the sequel to The War in the Dark. You are in Italy, 1965, and Christopher Winter is an agent for the British government. However, there are paranormal surprises, and if I say anything else, I will spoil this entire book, unfortunately. But you have the Cold War, you have the Russians, you have the British, you have the Americans, you have Italian mobsters, and paranormal elements. I can say there is a succubus, but again, if I say anything more about the paranormal, I spoil this book. And with the storyline of this book, the paranormal is definitely woven in very well. I didn't think I would enjoy these books. However, I read the first one and enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Then I got my hands on this one. Yeah, within a couple of pages, I was sucked back into the world. I remembered everything from the first book from last year. Really, really enjoyed it. And on to another sequel. This is book 5 in the D.I. Adam Fawley series, The Whole Truth by Cara Hunter. I love this series so much. Cara is a bit like C.L. Taylor and Katarina Diamond, one of my automatic buys in the thriller genre. You follow D.I. Fawley, who is an officer who has in the past done some not so good things with his wife, who used to be a lawyer, and they are coming to bite them in the bottom a little bit. I really enjoyed this. It kind of explained a bit more about what D.I. Fawley had done and the consequence at the moment and how it connected to what was going on in his personal life. The storyline of the case he was looking at in his work life is about a male student who has been essayed by his female professor. I kind of enjoyed reading that just because normally it's the other way around, so it was a different element. I was enjoying this book so much, it was a 5-star book. And then I get to the last 50 pages and the conclusion of the storyline with the student was not one I expected, and then the twist, I was a bit like, and then the ending with a storyline in his personal life, I was a bit like, not put me off the series, it just kind of let down the book. It went from a 5-star to a 4-star. So for a lot of people, they always say, oh, if it's bad characters and good writing though, I can still enjoy a book. For me, it's got to be good. I can forgive bad writing if the characters are good. Like, I can connect to the characters. If I can, I just, yeah. So, but like I said, it hasn't put me off this series. It hasn't put me off Kara's work. I do know that the first 2 books, Close to Home and In the Dark, are getting turned into a TV series, and I'm so looking forward to it. Kara is involved, and this is one thing I'm liking more when there is more adaptations now with books. A lot of the times the authors are more involved than what they would have been. I can't wait to see who they cast for D.I. Follett, because I have an idea in my head. I have an idea in my head for his wife Alex, for his friends in the police, obviously. I can't remember their names right now, but I have images in my head, and for me it's like, if they don't get the casting right, I won't be happy. But if the acting's good, I can go over that. So yeah, 4 stars. And for Read Your Bookshelf, the prompt was to read a book you should have read in high school. For me, that was Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I give this 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed the friendship between George and Lenny, how certain things affected certain situations, and the ending, I saw it coming. I already knew it happened, but I kind of, once certain things started getting spoken about, I was like, yeah, that's the way it comes about. Really enjoyed it. So it's a very small book. It's 120 pages. 121 pages, so it was quite a quick read for myself, but I enjoyed it. Will I read it again? Probably not, but I will be keeping this on my person, because I know this is still being taught in secondary schools here in the UK, and with my nieces and nephew, well, one niece being in secondary school, one going to secondary school in a couple of years, and my nephew following swiftly behind, if either of them, well, any of them do get this book for GCSEs, they don't have to buy it. Andy Shelley can just go, here you go. So yeah, but I enjoyed it, just not a reread. The next book I read was The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward. Oh my gosh, I love this book. I loved this book. 5 stars. 5 stars. Not gonna lie, at first I did get confused, because the second chapter in, you're reading from the perspective of a cat, and I was a bit like, but once you get to about 40% and twist is kind of revealed, and you get more information that connects to things you've already seen, masterpiece. This was such a good book in that it dealt with a mental disorder in a way that I haven't seen before, especially one that's kind of only newly being diagnosed in people. Really, really, I loved it. I loved it. Is it a horror? Not real. I know people are like, oh, it's like kind of like a horror, and I did as well. I was like, oh, it's going to be connected to like the horror of like The Last House on the End of the Street. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. There are some things where I was a bit like, I wouldn't call it a horror though. It's definitely more of a thriller mystery book. But yeah, if you have this on your TBR, pick it up. Pick it up soon, because you will not be disappointed. I love it. Definitely going to be a reread in future for me. And the second to last book is A Declaration of the Rights of Magicians. Really enjoyed this book. Really enjoyed it. More of a 4 stars than a 5 stars, unfortunately, just due to the fact that there was far too much dialogue for me at the beginning of the book with the group of people in Britain. So in this book, you are in a world where magic is around. It's very commonly known. Not everyone gets magic. It literally depends on the luck of the draw. Majority of the time, aristocrats will have magic and they like to keep the magic to themselves and they only want themselves to freely use it. However, the commoners have to wear bands where if they use too much of their magic, they get shocks. This is set around the time of the Age of Enlightenment when slavery is still around. However, in Britain, they are trying to abolish it. And in France, they are in their revolution against King Louis the 15th, I want to say, and Marie Antoinette. My knowledge of French royal history is not the best. So I enjoyed the bits in Paris, seeing the revolution, how that starts off. I enjoyed reading from the eyes of a slave in the colonies. The politics in Britain at the beginning of the book, for me, it was too much dialogue. You could not go half a page without half a page dialogue. Once that kind of went, and that I know it was because they were trying to establish that group, but once that kind of went and the connections between the three groups started appearing more and more, I really enjoyed it. The sequel is out next month. I have pre-ordered it already. Yes. So yeah, 4 stars. This was the last book from last year that I brought over from 2020 that I hadn't allocated to a reading challenge and I hadn't read. So really happy to finally get this one read and off my TBR shelves. The last book on the list is The Shadow in the Glass by J.J.A. Howard. This is like a dark Cinderella retelling or reimagining. I gave it 3 stars. There was decisions that our Cinderella made that I couldn't agree with, and I thought she was being far too naive for the girl she was. The love interest, didn't see it at all. I didn't see it. The only thing I like, well, the couple of things that I did like was the writing style, because it was a very quick read. I read it within 2 days. And the fairy godmother / villain, I actually really enjoyed her. I would actually like a backstory, more of a backstory in her, because all we get is she comes from a book that had blood dropped on it. That's not a spoiler, by the way. When she's introduced, literally that's how she's introduced. It's not going to be a reread for me. However, I'm not getting rid of the book. I just wish I could have enjoyed it more. And that was my wrap up for me. I do apologise that I didn't really give very much description as to why I did like or didn't like the books. I'm filming this on my lunch, so I'm trying to quickly wrap through it. And I want to get it up tonight as well, so I want time to edit. And yeah, as you saw, a lot of them were sequels, so I didn't want to give away what I said in them because it spoils first books. And for some of them, if I said too much, it would give away the entire twist of the story, and I don't want that. I want people to read them and get their own conclusions. So that's my wrap up. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you are new to my channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider it. Here's my introduction. Hi, my name is Michelle. I read a variety of genres, however my 2 favourites are fantasy, well, YA fantasy I should say, and thriller / crime books. I have 2 modes when it comes to reviewing books, one which you saw today. I'm very big to the point where you wonder why I've even talked about it, or I'm so detailed that I spoil the majority of the book unintentionally. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button and you are wondering whether or not I might be the right person for you to subscribe to, please go ahead and watch some of my other videos. Hopefully they will help you decide whether or not to subscribe. But until next time, bye.